The cards in today's video are a steal. They're an amazing deal of a price, but these deals are actually only going to get better. When your ship looks like it's in trouble, looks like it's taken on water and might start to sink, it's time to help out. Get a bucket and start to bail yourself out. Welcome back everyone, MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. And yes, for another amazing card watch video, we'll be going over some cards with amazing deals and prices. And chances are those deals are actually going to get better. We're going to cover that in a second. Now, most of you guys have heard recently that the earnings call for Hasbro came out and Magic sales and stuff, it's up. Okay, it's up, it's doing well. It's up what, 16, 14, 20%, whatever it is. I don't really care about the number. They said it's up. Now, I just want to make sure people understand that doesn't mean that you, the player, bought a ton more. I'm sure a lot of you guys did. We had some great sets. We had Dominaria United. We've had the Brothers War. We've had good sets that have been well received by the general populace of Magic the Gathering. But that doesn't mean there's not a lot of stock still sitting at your LGS level. Now, I can't speak for every store. They didn't get back the information I needed in time. But a lot of stores still have cases and cases sitting around, which means that is unused capital on the LGS end. But it did get sold, so it's reported on the Hasbro end. So always take things with a grain of salt. Just because the overall sales are up right now, they were good sets. They are well received. And yes, the majority of Magic players are back to playing Magic and having a good time. Which leads me now to a hard part of the conversation before we get to our cards to look at today. Great deals, by the way, some good stuff out there. And that's what makes this part a little bit harder. Sales are slowing down in vintage, older Magic the Gathering cards. And I'm not talking about the $5, $10 cards on the reserve list or the odd Arabian Nights card you're after. But sales are particularly sluggish on anything above $200. Going all the way into tens of thousands. I mean, we know places like Face to Face had like a posted sale. Here in Toronto, they had a big sale saying, hey, 15% off whatever, which is not a real deal because you still have taxes in Canada and stuff. It wasn't a very deep discount, so it didn't have a lot of success. But that tells you they're looking to raise some capital, and they're not the only ones. A lot of other stores I know, and they didn't volunteer the information, so I can't like tell people about it, which stores are doing what. You have to look around for yourselves. But there are some deals happening right now, and it isn't a posted deal. They've actually just lowered the prices. So some cards are like 15 to 20% off, and you can get discounts on top of those discounts depending on where you shop. And again, I'm not telling you where to go. You will have to look around. It could be in the States, can be in Canada, a little bit of both. They're out there. So if you're looking for individual cards, this is that bad sign. Because if there's no higher end sales, there's no trickling effect. It's not like everyone's looking to buy a $10,000 time twister right now. It's different when the markets are all ha. But right now, the uncertainty from Wizards of the Coast post 30th anniversary and the lack of reassurance we've gotten from the company, that whole thing with old school MTG, Wizards just keeps like slapping themselves in the face like they don't know what to do. So I'm going to give you guys some comments during the card watch here. I'll go through some cards, but I want to talk about this as we go through to give a little more in-depth explanation about what I mean. So let's start looking at some awesome cards. Let's get this party started. Our first card on today's video is Academy Rector from Urza's Destiny. Yes, the foil price is super scary, guys. Urza's Destiny was the first set ever to have foils. But the market price of $84.05. Take a look at what the actual card does. Don't forget, cards like this were very powerful for a reason. 1 white, that's 1 splash of white, plus 3 generic. When Academy Rector is put into a graveyard from play, you may remove Academy Rector from the game. If you do, search your library for an enchantment card and put it into play, then shuffle your library. This is an incredibly powerful card for less than $100. By the way, I'm not telling you to buy it. This is not a card I'm recommending you buy right now. This is a card I'm recommending you watch and keep an eye on. Right now at $84.05 being the market price, but moderately played, you can find it for $63, $64 on TCG Player, and this card's going to continue to fall. Cards in this price range right now are not being picked up by the masses of players. They're being left on the chopping block because players aren't really using it right now. They're not diving into some old school stuff, which means if you hold on the line and you keep your fish bait dry, you can hold that powder and ready to pounce on a card at the right price point for yourself. The market is just not favorable right now for people trying to liquefy Magic collections. They are taking pennies on the dollar, and that means you as a player, you can capitalize on that just by waiting them out. If you have a standard position, you're like, I have money, I've got a good job, I can hang in there, then this doesn't really matter. You'll be able to buy these cards whenever you want, but you can save yourself a few bucks and spread your dinero around a little bit further just by waiting. So this is a card I'm definitely saying keep an eye on. Now, Exorcist. This card has been as high as 60 bucks roughly, US. It's from the dark, and it's a very unique card. Most people forget about it, but cards like this for only $25, look at what the card does when you take a closer look. It is 2 white, so yes, you got to have a little bit extra white mana hanging around, probably in a white deck, right? It's a 1/1, but 1 white, 1 other, tap. Target black creature is destroyed. That's a very interesting power. Now, unlike some of the other cards that usually just have that tap effect, older school cards had that often, but this card actually made you pay mana to do it. Because there were so many powerful black cards like Lord of the Pit, the fact the Exorcist can just walk in, say a few words, and then the Lord of the Pit is gone, kind of crazy, right? Very powerful card. And again, if you want a moderately played copy of this card, you can find it for like 18 bucks. Much cheaper than it's been in the last year. And this card is still plummeting downward. It's still trying to find the new bottom. I predict if you wait about 90 days, this card will be available for less than $20 US. Which means for a near mint 20 bucks, for like a moderate to heavily played, $7 to $12. Lightly played, about $14 to $18. These are cards you can wait on, but again, the price point is already so good for a card of this magnitude that spending 25 bucks really doesn't feel bad. I understand, guys. It's a card to keep an eye on because cards like this are powerful, but when somebody decides to swoop in, it could be unexpected and it could be a small buyout. So just keep in mind if it's a card you're after. Now, our next card, Time Spiral. Again, this card hit the $300. I bought mine for $205 Canadian. This card has been as high as around $280 US, and it's a shadow of that right now with a market price of $118.21. This card is at a very good price point, and just like the other card I showed you on the list, still falling. And the sales are very slow. So anyone who's holding tons of copies and actually needs a cash flow, they've got to keep racing to the bottom to market this card out. And this is where it really shows the difference between a disciplined buyer and somebody who over-purchased and can't hang on. Time Spiral is an amazing card. It is 2 blue, 4 other sorcery. Remove Time Spiral from the game. Each player shuffles his or her graveyard and hand into the library and draws 7 cards. You untap 6 lands. So it's like another version of Time Twister when they're trying to correct the cards, but you get to untap your lands, which so many cards in the Urza block let you do. This is amazing because you get all your mana back and your opponents could be tapped out, or better yet, you could have blown up their graveyards and they're really not drawing anything. Crazy stuff, an amazing card, and I think this card will actually hit below 100 bucks. Okay, I think in the next 6 months, if nothing changes, if something doesn't pick the vintage market up, if Wizards doesn't do a turnaround or some kind of public stuff, more uncertainty will lead to lower prices that other players will capitalize on. All right, guys, let's check out our next card. Not reserve list. This is the Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Now, a card like this is so much fun, and the market price is actually pretty good. It's less than 12 bucks US for this card, and I loved it as soon as it came out. Modern Horizons got this card right, and the artwork I think is actually epic. So it taps for colorless, but with 1 white and 1 other. Put target enchantment card from your graveyard on top of your library. This works with Academy of Rector. This works because enchantments have become so much more powerful, and there's so much variation now on enchantments. You can build entire decks, which makes cards even like Serra Sanctum, which is not on the list today, but I'm keeping a close eye. Makes cards like that become more playable, more valuable over time. This card will be reprinted. Do I think this is a bad price though? No, I don't. It's sub 10 bucks almost, right? Like we're almost at the cusp of that. It's a great card. I would pay the money. I have no problem saying that this card is a card you should probably own at least 1 copy. Buy it and forget it and don't worry about it. You don't want to wait 5 years for this card to get reprinted and become a $3 card because you lose 5 years of playing with the card. So this is a card I have no problem saying, yep, this is a card you should be buying now. Get it out of the way. Now our next card. Here is another reserve list card. Here is Spinal Villain. A very interesting card because like the Exorcist, this guy does something funky. All right? He just taps to destroy target blue creature. Think about anything that's splashed with blue nowadays. He just destroys them. He has a splash of red, so he fits into multicolored decks. He only costs 3 to get out. Yeah, no, the artwork's kind of funky, right? It's kind of weird Alien versus Predator type thing. It's only a 1/2 creature. The power level does not matter on these cards. Same as the Rector. That's not what it does. It's like a Royal Assassin. This guy's just going to kill things for you. And with different cards being added in, you have lots of options to destroy those creatures. Spinal Villain is cheap. But like I've told you guys before, cheaper is even better. You can find this card for 43, I think, on TCG Player. And of course, this is the time to shill for myself. If you're buying anything on TCG Player, don't forget to use the Moxman's affiliate link. You'll find it in the description of all my videos. Just click the link for TCG Player, and I will get a 3.5% kickback on anything you buy, which is awesome. So thanks again for supporting the channel if you choose to do so. And if not, I understand there's lots of content creators out there. Guys, very awesome card. And the fact you can find it for $40-something, even better. But I think this card is one of those forgotten ones people always just kind of like, meh, I'm not really going to use it. But it's so much fun when it pops out of the board. People go, what does that thing do? And they second guess themselves. Awesome card. At this price, I think it'll go a little bit cheaper, and there's lots of copies. So I would wait another 90 days at least and just see where it falls. It's not going to hurt you to wait. It's not a be-all, end-all card anyway. Last card today. Hall of Storm Giants. Okay, I like this particular artwork. I told people before. This card has not really fallen off as much as I would like, and there's lots of copies available. But I'm not sure about how Wizards will reprint this particular type of version of it. I like any version of this card. I think it's an amazing card. I think it has lots of playability, and when I look at it, the idea becomes a big, 7/7 with Ward 3 is just brutal on people, and I like the kind of cards that can activate and become it. Just like the Xanax statue becomes like an 8/8. So you can only use it, you can use board wipes to keep the board clear and then activate and make your creatures come alive. I think that's a definite deck option that people have to consider nowadays because there's so many ways of doing it. And I don't think it's really being played a lot. So an amazing card for under $5, and the artwork is just breathtaking because it's that dungeon module term. I love all the look of those cards, and I would buy at least 1 or 2, probably a play set of 4 each. It's probably going to cost you less than $40 to get a play set of each one in this type of art style. Amazing. If it's a card that appeals to you. So you got to consider that. All these cards I've shown you today. Cheap, great deals. But your dollar is great bang for the buck. You can stretch this out just by outweighting people, outplaying them. And the way the market is right now, it is not doing any players or stores any favors. It's only helping those who can hang in there and wait things out and look for the best possible option to spend their money. So if you're a person who's got cash, I would say have fun shopping. And if you're a person who is tight on funds, a little bit, if you can hang in there, I would not sell your cards right now if you have these types of cards. Hold on to them, enjoy the ride, enjoy playing with them. Remember, these cards can go to zero. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the channel. Of course, I want to see those comments in the comment section. Have you noticed a slowing of sales? Have you noticed the market turning this way? Because I sure have, and now I've told you guys about it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Oh, and don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. All right, you made it to the end, and this is that moment of glory where I thank the fantastic patrons of the channel who support me each and every day and allow me to go looking for this information for you all. Patrons, you rock. You know it's true. See you guys in the live stream. Here we are at the end of the video. This is where I remind you to clean the popcorn off the floor. Make sure you've made your bed, helped out your significant other. Being a team player. Being a team player is so important. Plus, if you have kids, you should make them do stuff. Keep them always active. Get them off the phones and video games once in a while. I know the feeling. Mini Mox drags me through the ringer. Guys, some of these deals on old cards, I want you guys to know, I screenshot stuff. So I'm taking pictures when I visit websites for reference, for information, and I noticed some pictures weren't right that I had seen like 7 days before. I was shopping for Arabian Nights cards, trying to get my pricing in right, see if I could save up enough money at certain times to try to pay for stuff, and I noticed the prices were different, so I looked, and that made me look more and more, and then I cross-referenced with stuff I'd already been tracking, and that's when I really knew that the stores aren't advertising it, they're just lowering their prices, which means buy lists are being lowered, cash flow is being lowered. Keep an eye on this stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for making it to the end of the video once again. You're the special ones who make it there at the end and say, you know what? I have got to be here at the end. I've got to hear you say what you're going to say. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome day. Don't forget... Wait, don't forget what? What was I going to say? I forgot.